Hi, my name is Lisa Adams, and I'm 45 and a mother of 3 sons aged 23, 17, and 14. Excuse me. I am a disabled ex-cytologist, and I was disabled in a car accident in 2003 in Spokane, Washington, when a drunk driver hit me with a Suburban going about 50 miles an hour. And during the accident, I fractured my skull, my neck, a few vertebrae in my thoracic spine, 2 in my lumbar spine, and additionally I slipped a, not a disc, but I had a slipped vertebra in my neck and in my lumbar spine with some spinal cord compression causing pretty significant damage. And during the accident, when I saw the gentleman about to hit me, I instantly tensed up and prepared for impact and bit down on my teeth, unfortunately, which resulted in me losing almost all of my molars within the first about week after the accident. And I have had numerous neck and spinal surgeries to stabilize my neck and back. And I have a couple of plates in my neck and titanium cage in my lower spine with some bolts and some crossbars to make sure that I am stable. And over the process of the last 13 years, I also developed a degenerative process in my neck and spine called degenerative facet and disc disease, which causes further damage to the spine, both in the discs and in the little facet bones in my back. But at the moment, the thing which gives me the greatest discomfort, pain, and certainly the greatest emotional damage is that from my teeth. By about 2 or 3 years after the accident, I had had almost all of my teeth from the canines backward removed, because most of my teeth were fractured either irreparably or with some degree of fairly significant damage with the accident. And I did undergo lots of dental work to crown those teeth that could stay in my mouth for a few more years, and that accident combined with then really 10 years of pain management, something that pain management drugs, opiates in particular, and medications that are muscle relaxants, which help me to sit and stand. In fact, it would be very unlikely for me to be able to do so without those medications. They cause something called drug-induced Sjogren syndrome, which essentially just means that your mucosa, your oral, nasal, well, just everywhere dries out, and without proper moisture in your mouth and appropriate amount of saliva, you are at very high risk for periodontal disease, which is exactly what I developed. And additionally, I was born with a condition that makes it very difficult for me to break down certain vitamins and minerals, and in particular vitamin D, which is necessary for taking calcium and using that in a form which helps you lay down matrix for bone and healthy teeth. And so my teeth were always very soft and predisposed to disease, but with regular care I was able to, keep my teeth pretty healthy looking, and I had pretty nice looking teeth. Unfortunately, though, after the accident, it did not take very long at all for my dental problems to become really significant. And in the last 5 years especially, I just would lose one tooth after another, and because the periodontal disease spread just like wildfire through my mouth, I lost what remaining teeth I did have to abscessing, and I would get one abscess and it would just spread to the tooth next to it and the tooth next to that, and no amount of money could slow this process or keep my teeth in my mouth. And unfortunately, in December I had to have all of my upper teeth extracted, and I would have at that time had all of my lower teeth extracted as well, except for my dentist made the decision to keep a couple of teeth in there, which makes me look even more hideous than I would if I had no teeth, in an effort to help him make a secure and appropriate fitting denture. But the real issue here is not just the pain and suffering that I have gone through with my teeth, which have been incredibly painful, but because I, unfortunately, with the birth of my 2 youngest sons, had a life-threatening process that I went through with each of them, where I had an infection post-operatively with my C-sections and contracted alpha hemolytic streptococcus, staphylococcus, and enterococcus, which is just a different virulent strain of strep. And these bugs were highly resistant to treatment, and to make matters even more perilous for me, I'm allergic to most antibiotics, with the exception of 2 families, which are not good at treating anything like that, and I nearly died. And one of the things that happened during that process is that I colonized these bugs in my system. I became septic and really gravely ill, and had many debridement procedures, and many months, 2 years after my last son, to have that C-section wound closed. And every time I had any type of surgery or anything after that, I would then have reinfection into that wound by these two or three different virulent strains of bacteria, which just took over my entire system. And strep and enterococcus and staph live in the mouth just as they live all over you and in you. But when they're resistant, they can cause real problems. And strep and enterococcus are notorious for loving the heart, and in particular the heart valves. And so as a result of having my second son, I had pretty significant damage to my mitral valve, which is the big tricuspid valve in your heart. And through the last 2 years of not being able to afford treatment for my dental concerns, I have had further damage in my heart. And the one thing, as you might know, as a disabled person, I receive Medicare and I'm on Social Security, so I have a fixed income, which is very small. And Medicare does not cover any type of dental coverage in any way, shape, or form, even if your life is at risk. They will not even pay an oral surgeon to remove your teeth. And so that left me with a real problem, and that was to not even be able to afford to pay a dentist to remove my teeth, and especially because my teeth were broken well above the gum line. The ones that I did have left, they had sheared off at the gum You could see no tooth, you know, anywhere. It looked like I was missing all of my teeth, but what I did have was grossly infected teeth roots that extended, some of them well up into my sinus cavities here into my face. And so every morning I would wake up with a pretty high fever, and I would feel terrible, and I had extensive sinus problems, and again, further damage to my heart. So ultimately, with the generosity of my family, I was able to see a prosthodontist who had the skill and training to remove my teeth. However, that left me with nothing. And I need to have extensive reconstructive surgery to even just have dentures, and I need dentures. But I will need dentures that are secured with implants, because I received so much damage to the left side of my head and face when I was kind of ricocheting off the roll bar in my Jeep when I had my accident, and the teeth themselves, when they were broken, when they were pulled out, I had damage to some of the internal structures of the mouth that help you keep your dentures in. In particular, there's this bony protuberance in the back of your mouth that help you create a suction to a regular denture, and that was literally broken at the time of either the extractions or the accident. No one could possibly determine that at this point, but without having it on one side, it means that my upper palate is kind of lopsided. I have greater damage on the left than I do on the right, and because I have damage on the bottom also, keeping a lower denture in is going to be pretty darn impossible as well. And people who are denture wearers would be the first to tell you that lower dentures, you know, don't stay in very well anyway, and they tend to float around. But for me, I'm going to have a great difficulty talking, eating, and just functioning without implants securing those dentures. And a high quality pair of dentures prepared by a prosthodontist can cost upwards of $6,000 to $8,000. And implants in our area, for a full-sized implant, it's about $2,200, and then an additional $600 for what they call the abutment, which is the connection on the implant that interfaces with the steel-like snap, if you will, that is part of the denture. So those two pieces snap together and then secure the denture into the palate. So you can eat, which I have not been able to do literally for years. I have to cut my food up so small I could feed it to a baby, and I literally swallow my food whole, pretty much. Or I eat things like applesauce and soup and more soup. So much soup that when I even see a can of soup, I have this strong emotional desire to either throw it across the room or start gagging. And the main reason I am here and reaching out to you today is because truly, without the generosity of you guys out there in the great wide world, I'm not going to be able to have dentures and implants placed, and I will continue to go on without them. And I have not been in a grocery store or outside my home other than to go to the absolutely necessary doctor visits I go to for more than a year. And that is because when I've been outside, either alone or with my children, people who really don't know any better just assume that 45 years old I don't have my teeth because I was a recreational drug abuser, or, well, heaven knows what they think, but they say things like that. People will point directly at my face and whisper and say rude and derogatory things in front of my children. And I've had several instances where people have come right up to me and said things which are so incredibly devastating that for a person like myself who suffers from generalized anxiety and PTSD as a result of the accident and some other things that have happened in my life, I have literally just become what I would classify as a shut-in. And I literally have such agoraphobia and fear of others that I am unable to leave my home. And that has been very hard on my two youngest sons, who are both in high school. And they are terrific and supportive, and my husband, you know, is always kind enough to tell me that I look beautiful, but I feel hideous. And it is truly heartbreaking to be 45 years old and lose your teeth. And lose your teeth not because you didn't care for them or you are responsible in some way for neglecting them or the care of yourself or your teeth, but because firstly a drunk driver destroyed your life in just a few seconds, and then also because you simply were born with a condition that makes it even harder for you to have healthy teeth to start with. And I really can't articulate to you just how devastating it has been to lose my teeth. I have nightmares about it at least 2 or 3 times a week, and I just dread talking to people. And you know, before the accident, there was a time where I was incredibly outgoing. I enjoyed a number of friendships. I worked full-time. I had my 3 sons and was greatly active in their lives. I coached youth sports. I was active within my community. I volunteered for hospice. And that life just seems like a shadow of something long forgotten. And I feel really terrible as a mother because I haven't been able to give my 2 youngest sons the same kind of loving attention and involvement that I provided for my oldest, because I'm so self-conscious about being out where people really will, you know, assault us with comments and ugliness. And I just can't bear exposing my children to that. And so what I ask of you today is that you consider making a donation to my GoFundMe page. I'm trying to raise enough money to have a nice pair of dentures made and have enough implants to secure those in my face so that I can eat and talk and smile again, which is something I never do with my mouth open. And truly I rarely do, period, because it's hard to find things to smile about. Excuse me. And, you know, without my faith and without the love of my family, I truly don't think that I could, you know, face another day. But I'd really like to face another day with a smile, and I need your help for that. So I would ask respectfully that you give as generously as you can, and give myself and my children an opportunity for a better life. So I thank you for your time, and would suggest to all of you, first, please don't drink and drive, and secondly, the heart damage that I've had is not reversible. And so for those of you who have dental problems, please, please, please do not put off treatment, even if you have to have all of your teeth pulled out and you don't have the money to replace them. Having no teeth and being present for the people that love you is better than having teeth and not being around to see their accomplishments and to love them and to lift up their heart and give them a chance. And I hope you will all give me a chance to do that again. So again, thank you for your time, and every donation counts, so whatever you can give, I say God bless you and thank you.